The night my perfectionist chef father lost everything over one plate. Growing up, people in our town treated my father like he was some kind of culinary god. Customers would wait 3 months just to get a reservation at his restaurant. Food critics worshipped him. Local newspapers called him the man who put our city on the map. But behind the kitchen doors, he was a tyrant. To everyone else, he was Chef Marco. To me, he was the man who made me terrified of dinner. Every meal in our house felt like a final exam. If I chopped onions too thick, he'd dump the entire cutting board into the trash. If pasta was even slightly overcooked, he'd force me to start over from scratch while everyone else ate. And if meat wasn't cooked perfectly, that was the worst. I still remember being 13 years old, standing at the dining table while he slowly cut into a steak I made for him. 1 second of silence. Then he looked up at me and said, "Medium well?" Before I could answer, he shoved the plate off the table. The porcelain exploded across the floor. My mother flinched so hard she dropped her fork. "You are disgracing this family name," he shouted. That became his favorite sentence. Not, "I'm proud of you." Not, "You tried your best." Just, "You embarrass me." After a while, I stopped cooking at home altogether. But I didn't stop learning. My best friend Tyler had this tiny garage behind his house with a broken portable stove and almost no ventilation. Every night after school, I'd sneak over there with cheap ingredients from the discount grocery store. I burned myself constantly. Ruined sauces, destroyed pans, set off smoke alarms. But slowly, I got better. I learned how butter changes texture second by second. How garlic smells right before it burns. How a sauce can taste technically perfect, but still feel empty. Meanwhile, my father only became more obsessed with perfection. The older I got, the angrier he became. Nothing was ever enough. Then last month, our city announced the annual Golden Whisk competition. $5,000. Front page coverage. A contract offer from a luxury restaurant group. Basically the biggest cooking event in the state. My father acted like he'd already won. He bragged about it for weeks. At family dinners, he'd laugh and say, "Maybe this year someone will finally give the other chefs a chance." Everyone laughed with him, except me, because secretly, I had entered too, under my mother's maiden name. Competition day felt like a movie. Bright lights. Crowds everywhere. Judges whispering at long white tables. And right in the center of the room, my father, confident, smirking, wearing his pristine white chef coat like armor. When he saw me competing, his face changed instantly. Not shock. Anger. Pure anger. "You think this is a game?" he hissed while passing my station.
Famous duck confit, the same dish that made him locally famous. And honestly, it looked flawless. The judges tasted his plate first. They nodded politely, took notes. One even smiled. My father looked around the room like victory was already his. Then they came to my station. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the plate. The head judge took one bite, then another. The entire room went quiet. No cameras clicking. No talking, nothing. The judge slowly put down his fork, looked directly at me and said, "In 10 years of judging this competition, this is the first dish that actually made me feel something." You could literally hear people gasp. I turned toward my father. His face had gone completely pale. Then came the announcement. First place. They said my name. The room erupted. People stood up clapping. Someone in the crowd yelled, "No way!" And in the very back of the room, I saw my mother crying into both hands. But my father, he didn't clap, didn't speak, didn't even look at me. He walked straight into the display kitchen in complete silence, picked up his custom chef knife, and slammed it against the steel counter so hard the blade snapped clean in half. Everyone froze. Then he walked right up to me, close enough for only me to hear him, and whispered, "You didn't win." His voice was shaking. "You just made me look small." Then he leaned even closer. "Don't bother coming home," and he walked out. That should have been the moment I felt victorious. But honestly, I just felt tired, exhausted, like I'd spent my entire life begging someone to love me, and finally realized they never would. So that night, I stayed at Tyler's house. Around midnight, my phone rang. It was my mom. She was crying. But for the first time in years, she didn't sound afraid. She said, "I packed my bags." Apparently, after leaving the competition, my father went home and destroyed half the kitchen in a rage. Plates, pan, small. But the truth is, I didn't make him small. I just stopped standing beneath him, and for the first time in his life, my father made a perfect meal for dinner. There was just nobody left at the table to serve it to.